Just by way of introduction, thank you very much. My name is Matt Chandler, and we have an excellent opportunity to get to know some very qualified candidates tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and ask them to come on up here. Susana Martinez, District Attorney out of the 3rd Judicial District. Doug Turner, a businessman from Albuquerque. Janice ArnoldJones, State Representative and Jack of all trades. We want to make sure that tonight you get your questions answered, that you learn more about these candidates, and we also want tonight to be an enjoyable night. A politician, and there was a priest that both suddenly died at the exact same time, and they ended up on the doorsteps of Heaven's Gate. And as you all know, St. Peter works at Heaven's Gate, and he came out and said, let's check to see if your names are in the book of life. And as they started to go through that book, they obviously were both in that book. So St. Peter said, come with me, gentlemen, I'm going to take you, and I'm going to show you your quarters where you'll be living for the rest of eternity. And he started to walk down the golden streets and the crystal sea and came up to a small shack. And they went inside, and there was about a 10 by 10 foot shack, and inside it was a cot. There was a wooden table with a chair and a black and white TV. And St. Peter looked at the priest and he said, this is where you'll be living for eternity. And the priest said, well, thank you very much. And they started to walk down the street again, and the politician was thinking, oh. And at that time, St. Peter said, you see this beautiful mountain? You see that palace up on top of the mountain? Well, that's where God resides. And you see that mansion right there to the side of it? He said, yes, I do. The politician said, he said, well, that's where you're going to be residing. The politician said, I don't understand. He said, the priest, he got to live in that shack, and you're going to give me this mansion. And he said, sir, you need to understand, there's hundreds of thousands of priests here. You're the first politician to ever make it. So that doesn't hold true with these candidates. These are candidates that are honest, and they're going to bring integrity and ethics back to the state of New Mexico. One of these candidates will be our next governor. Now, when elected, as she said, we plan to bring sunshine to the state's capital. We plan, and my #1 goal is to expose those that are stealing from the taxpayers in the dark, hold them accountable, and give restitution back to New Mexicans as they deserve. But quite frankly, I can't do it without every county's support, including Otero County. So thank you for coming out, and thank you for your support, and so let's get on with the show. We have timers here in the front somewhere, right here. You got different colored signs. When the red one goes up, you got to stop. And so each candidate will get a 3-minute introduction. There will be, at that time, 1.5 minutes each to answer questions from the audience. Everybody had an opportunity to fill out a note card and present their question. And then there will be a closing, which will be 3 minutes as well. With that, we will start with the 3-minute introductions, and the timing will begin, and we will start with Janice ArnoldJones.
Does that make me alphabetically challenged?
Not necessarily.
Let me see if I can move. Can you hear me now? All right, that will work. Hi, I'm Janice ArnoldJones. I know many of you don't know me, so here goes. I'm an Air Force brat. I moved to New Mexico in 1963, graduated from the old Albuquerque High School and from UNM. I have served in your legislature for 4 terms, and I'm running for governor. I'd also like to introduce my husband of 35 years. He's sitting over here, John Jones, and next to him is our best man, Frank Ruvalo. So, looking around at all of the hands, I am here to tell you that the Republicans are ready. We are ready. On November 2nd, we are going to elect a Republican governor, a Republican Secretary of State, a Republican AG, and we are going to change the legislature from deep blue to bright red. I am Janice ArnoldJones, and I want to be your governor. You know, I have stood at the legislature. I've stood against the Speaker of the House when he was abusing our rules, our laws, and our Constitution. I took a webcam, like this gentleman right here, to the legislature because I knew we would not end the abuse of our Constitution or end corruption until there was informed participation by the citizens of the state, and you came through, and I thank you. So, you know, Margaret Thatcher once upon a time said, a woman who runs a household is closer to running a governor than anybody else. Well, I'm telling you, I understand the problem, and here it is. We're broke. We are broke. And it is time for a little tough love. It is time to stop living beyond our means. We cannot leave our children with a legacy of choking debt. It is time to be very quick, is what it's time for. It is time to end things like sanctuary cities. It's time for low taxes. It's time for reasonable regulation. It's time for a governor who could put that together. As your governor, I will help build a revitalized economy, robust, focusing on small businesses where the order of the day is job creation, where we have lean government that provides a service, an educational system that you can be proud of, and we can take our state and make it the largest energy exporter of the entire nation. I ask for your vote, I ask for your support. I'm Janice ArnoldJones, and I want to be your governor.
I'm Doug Turner. I've tried to meet most of you on either this evening or on previous occasions here, and those of you I have not met, I will certainly try and spend some time with you when this is over. As I have said many times in the past, and these speeches tend to blur, you know, we probably give 100 of them a week, or it feels like that, and pretty soon we're all going to be giving each other speeches. I have never run for anything before. I have never worked for state government. I have done a little bit of political work. I ran a re-election campaign for Gary Johnson in 1998, but other than that, I am a small businessman. I have 2 young children, a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old, and I also have a wife, of course, who I met in middle school in Albuquerque, which is where I'm from. I got into this race really because I think that our state should be run like a business. We all pay taxes as if we're buying a service, and we ought to get the appropriate services from that state government, which we're not getting. And so I believe that we have to have people who get involved in politics not because they need the job or not because they want to run for something else at some point in the future, but because it is public service. It is something that we should do at least once in our lives. And I think the reason there are so many people in this room who are running for public office is because there is a pent-up energy in this country and in this state, and a pent-up anger for what has happened to our country and to our state, certainly in our state these last 7 years. I mean, our state is broke, and it's broken. We are bankrupt, as Janice said. You know, we have 5,000 more political and classified state employees today than we had 5 years ago, and it costs us as much as $300 million a year. And yet our legislature, Democrats in our legislature and our governor are perfectly happy to go up to Santa Fe and raise taxes on us. I can't tolerate that. I'm a small business person, and you know, I look at our state as an amazing place with amazing opportunities, and we need people to stand up and change what has become a terribly, terribly corrupt and terribly inept government, and make it work for the people of this state. I think we are on this planet for a very short time, and if we can't leave it a little bit better when we leave, then we have not had a very full life. And so I'm in this, I believe, for the right reasons. I intend to get in, serve 2 terms, clean this state up, and then get out. So I thank you all for your energy, for your excitement, and for your participation. I think 2010 is going to be even better than 1994. So stay energized, and we will elect a Republican governor.
Thank you. Susana Martinez.
I'm Susana Martinez, and I'm the district attorney from Doñana County. I was elected in 1996 to my first term as district attorney, and I'm currently serving my 4th term. I am an elected official as a Republican, and have been as an elected official as a Republican in Doñana County since 1996, in a county where Republicans are outnumbered nearly 3-to-1, which is a tough challenge. There are only 2 of us Republicans in Doñana County, myself and the sheriff. So the introductions are short. Whenever we have our big meetings and Lincoln Day dinner, there are very few of us Republicans elected there. And that's what I bring to the table, is the ability to get the crossover vote, the ability to get elected in a county where Republicans rarely get elected. I also bring to you the strong ethical leadership that I have brought to Doñana County. Now, I am not going to take on state government as a prosecutor, and I know that. However, I'm not going to talk to you like a politician either. You have to be able to identify corruption as an elected official. You have to be able to bring it to the forefront. You have to make sure that the proper officials have that corrupt person identified so that the Attorney General, hopefully Matt Chandler, knows exactly what to do with that kind of corruption. But if we sit back as elected officials and merely identify it and then later talk about it as elected officials, then we're not doing what we are supposed to do, which is bringing that to the forefront. Corruption is part of every aspect of our current governing. In the jobs that people get, when they get jobs, when there aren't even positions that are actually identified for that person to take. There are directors of museums that don't exist. It is part of the regulatory process. The corruption is part of the oil and gas industry, that the regulation that they're imposing upon the oil and gas industry, which cut back our revenues. Corruption is part of every aspect of our governing today, and we must choose a governor who is willing to confront the corruption, point it out and get it out of our system, make sure the proper authorities have it, and make sure that decisions are made based on evidence, based on facts, based on honest decision-making that is brought to the legislature, that is brought to the regulatory boards, so that we can become a prosperous state once again. Once that corruption is removed, we've got our state back. Once that corruption is removed, we can then make decisions that are best from the people on up, and not by the governor on down. I ask you for your vote and support as your next governor. I can get that crossover vote. I can make sure there's a Republican in our next office at the Roundhouse.